Thank you for coming. I'm Hope Kuzis. I'm the Indigenous Recruiter and Pathways Navigator at Northern College. I'm also your host for tonight's webinar. As you all know, today's webinar is focused on two different programs. The first program is our business programs, along with the office administration. And separately, we have our law clerk program. So I would like to start off with introductions. So we're going to start off with Tracy. Introduce yourself, what position you hold, and what campus you support.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Navigate Northern night. My name is Tracy Doherty, and I'm a professor in the School of Business and Office Administration, as well as the Business Fundamentals Coordinator for the Timmins campus specifically. Although I do teach to the Timmins campus, I do teach online, so I see a lot of students from a lot of northern regions, including but not limited to Kirkland Lake, Moosonee, my goodness, Kirkland, Haileybury, and so on. And I also teach students as far as St. Catharines, Brampton, Windsor, and even I have a few in India.
Wow, that's awesome. Hello all, yes, Sumit, interact. So, and moving on, I would like to introduce Rose. Take it away.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to our Navigate Northern as well. My name is Rosemarie Deacon, and I'm a professor in the School of Business as well as the coordinator for all of the second year programs, as well as office administration and office admin general. So you'll have Tracy for first year as a coordinator, and then you'll have me after that for any of you that are coming for a 2-year diploma. I also have students at the Timmins campus. I'm situated out of the Timmins campus, but I teach students from all over Ontario, Northern Ontario, Southern Ontario, and as far as India. I guess that's it. Welcome and enjoy your night.
Thank you, Rose, and thank you, Tracy. So now between Jamie and Vula, rock, paper, scissors, who's going first? So just in case you missed the question, just introduce yourself, what position you hold, and what campus you support.
Maybe I'll go next, Hope, so that we keep all the business faculty together. So, bonjour, wache, sachiriakal. Hello, welcome. My name is Jamie Burns, and I'm a faculty member at the School of Business here at the Timmins campus. I normally teach accounting, math, economics, and this semester I taught Introduction to Human Resources for the first time. So yeah, I'm one of the faculty at the Timmins campus. I can tell I impressed you somewhat with my little bit of Punjabi that I know, but I'm learning from my students as well. Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamie. And moving on to Vula.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. And I am representing the Law Clerk Program. My name is Vula Zafiris. I am the program coordinator, as well as I teach various courses in the program. Our program is strictly online, so I don't really belong in a certain campus, but I am attached to the Haileybury campus as far as the college is concerned. And welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Vula. So typically we start navigating Northern with me doing the introduction, but I just wanted to switch things up because why not? I'm the host, it's my rules. So anyways, to those that are not familiar with Navigating Northern, basically it's a very casual webinar where you learn about your program of interest. We bring our experts here today to kind of learn more about our business programs, office administration, and law clerk. We have weekly webinars. So yeah, you can also check out our YouTube page. Sumit always talks about our YouTube page, and it's better than PewDiePie. I know PewDiePie Swedish, that's all I know of. So anyways, if this session will be recorded, so to those that are unable to attend, you can always refer back to our YouTube page for this recording. And for our attendees, if you have any questions throughout the webinar, you are welcome to use the chat feature, and Sumit will take care of that part. So some of you may already answer this question, but knowing me, I like to go through them anyways. So starting off with Tracy, what programs are covered under the business and office administration and law? No, sorry, let me just rephrase that. I apologize. So Tracy, tell me about the programs that are under business.
So actually, I will be talking about business and office administration, but I want to say hi to Kylie, Ricky, Sarah, and Zachariah, who are joining us live. So welcome, guys. So what I'm going to be talking about basically is all the business, the School of Business and Office Administration, and all the different programs that we have here at Northern. We really have such a broad base of options for everyone. So whether you're thinking of going into accounting or business or general, we are definitely a great one-stop place to be, or one-stop shop place to be. So our post-secondary certificates and diplomas include a first-year business certificate that basically all students will have a common first year. So after your first year, you actually do attain a certification. In second year, you have a number of pathways that you can actually head towards. And one is business general, which is a 2-year diploma. Another is business accounting, also a 2-year diploma. There's business HR or human resources, a 2-year diploma. We have our business general? Marketing, excuse me, marketing. And that is also a 2-year diploma. So on top of all of that, we have an information systems business analyst 2-year diploma. We have a new, I think it's about maybe a year or two old. We lovingly call it GBET, but it stands for Global Business Entrepreneurship in Technology. And it is also a 2-year diploma. We have a new supply chain management diploma that just started this past September. And although it is mainly for international students at this time, I know that they're hoping to offer it as well to our domestic students. We also have 2 graduate certificates. One is also called GBET again, and it's basically a post-diploma program. So if you already have a degree, then you get an extra certification. And there is another as well, it's business systems, information systems, the business analyst. Now that's the business side of our department. In the office administration side, we have a 1-year office general certification. And then we have a 2-year office administration executive diploma. So a lot of our students, some of them, many of them, including myself when I was back in the day a Northern College student, have multiple diplomas from the business program. So that's a little bit what we have to offer. Now, because our first year is common to all students, no matter what the chosen pathway is, students will have the ability to change their mind potentially. So say, for example, you start and you want to just, do your business general diploma for second year. But because our first year is common to all of these different pathways, what you can actually do is say, for example, hey, I really love accounting. Yes, there are students who really love accounting. So we would want to encourage you to potentially stay in that program. So even though you had originally chosen, say, for example, a general diploma, you would have the option to go into second year into an accounting diploma without skipping a beat. You would have all the requirements no matter what pathway you chose. Say that, for example, you said, oh no, I would really like to go into accounting, but I find HR is more interesting and more up my alley. So then you would have that option as well. So the idea that you have so many options becomes very attractive to our students. It really definitely helps us out to guide you to maybe you thought it was one thing and then it turned out to be something different. So you have those options. And remember, education is never a waste. So say, for example, after your first year, you're like, you know what, I'm done. The business certification or the business fundamentals certificate offers you an exit strategy, so to speak. So even though you finish upon successful completion of your first year, you're leaving with a certificate. And what that will do is when you do choose potentially a different industry, you will now have a management certificate, which will often help you maybe become a manager in your chosen field of study. So education is never a waste. Even that first year business certification really can help you in whatever your chosen field is. Thanks, Hope.
Awesome. Thank you, Tracy. So Rosemary, tell me about your day. Did you want to add on to what Tracy had mentioned? And you were muted. Don't worry, it happens. It's normal.
No, I think Tracy covered all of the programs.
Okay, awesome. Did you want to add into, actually, you know what? So we're going to move on to the law clerk program, and we'll have our expert Vola to explain more about it.
Okay, well, our law clerk program is just the law clerk program after I hear Tracy Rose's business programs. Ours is not just, it's a 2-year diploma, and it's based with regarding all different areas of law. So it is a diploma with a lot of different pathways, but it is a 2-year law clerk diploma. There is no other program that is under my auspice at this point. We are checking to do other things, but right now it's just the law clerk, and it is for 2 years. You get a 2-year diploma when you are graduate.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. So now we're going to move on to the next question. So Jamie, are you ready? Are you ready? I'm ready. Is Sumit ready? I think we're all ready. So what will the next year or couple years look like as a student in the business programs?
Sure. So the world as we know it, Hope, has changed. The last year, there's been a lot of changes, and it seems like the world is changing sometimes minute by minute, day by day. And so in addition to the students learning the curriculum and the content and the theory and all of the different programs that Tracy mentioned, our students are also honing their communication skills. They're using different technologies to connect on various platforms. They're using their time to manage not only their schoolwork, but their mental health and having that healthy balance there as well. Faculty are always looking at ways to engage our students in real life experiential learning experiences. And we're always looking at different ways at how we can expand our program. So Tracy mentioned that. Most recently, we have our supply chain management 2-year diploma. We've also are going to be offering a 2-year HR diploma this coming fall, I believe. Yes. So we're always looking at ways that we connect with our community partners and meet the demands that our students are asking for and that our communities are asking for as well. Anything else to add, girls?
Sure, Jamie. I just wanted to also mention, I know that there are a number of schools that have already announced that they're hoping to go back to face-to-face delivery in the fall. So we are one of them. We are hoping to go back to face-to-face, but as we know, the situation in the world is somewhat fluid. So that would be dependent upon vaccines and of course, the health and welfare of everyone involved, both our faculty, staff, and students at the college. The other thing I wanted to mention as well, I'll mention it in the next section, so I'll let you go ahead.
Awesome. So we will have Vola to explain what will the next or couple years look like as a student in the law clerk program.
Okay, well, our law clerk program is primarily offered by distance, actually fully online. So hybrid, so live lectures, just like this Zoom call, and recorded so you can listen to them. So there's not really a big change that I can see from when we had started from 2007, because I don't have any face-to-face students. But what we did have to adjust for as is the placement component. And when we get to that part, I will mention a little bit more. and how we are looking for opportunities to do virtual placements and online placements, etc. And lots of law firms are and legal offices are very interested in exploring that with us. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I say awesome a lot. I've noticed that lately. So anyways, so just to kind of clarify, so we have 2 different programs here. I was going to do 2, but that's 4. I'm not really good at math. So we have 2 different programs. I just want to let the attendees know, and to those that are listening, just so they're not confused. We have our business programs and our representatives here, and then we have the law clerk. We did this because we want to hit 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm just going to keep it like that. So before I trail off, this question is about, are there pathway options available within the business program? So Rose, did you want to speak on that?
Sure, thank you, Hope. As Tracy mentioned, as well as our 2-year diploma programs and 1-year certificate in both office admin, general and business fundamentals, we also offer some graduate certificates. Now, sometimes there's some confusion from students on whether or not they're able to take some of our graduate certificates. But the only requirement there is you already have to have either a diploma or a degree. It can be from Northern College, it can be from any college or university, but it's called a postgraduate certificate because you've already graduated from something and have a credential in something. So as Tracy mentioned, we have 3 right now. We have GBET, Information Systems Business Analysis, and there's one that's listed on our website, but it's not valid. The Financial Services Practitioner might still be there, but that is not yet being offered. So just so that you're aware, that one isn't being offered. There's also the Supply Chain Management, which is a 2-year diploma, which is relatively new. I just want to repeat that. We have a couple of partnerships. So we have many partnerships actually with other institutions, both within Canada and Ontario and some in other places in the world. So we have a partnership, our most recent partnership articulation agreement is with Algoma University. So with Algoma University, what we have agreed to is our students can actually enroll in both our business program and their Bachelor of Business Administration program simultaneously. So you would complete 2 years at Northern College, get your diploma, but at this point you would be expected to move to Sault Ste. Marie and take the last 2 years, 2.5 years. There might be a summer bridging involved in that at Algoma. We're really trying to get them to have a presence here, and that's in the works. So hopefully at some point they can finish their Bachelor of Business Administration here at Northern, don't have to move, very much like our social work program in the Community Services Department. Also, we have articulation agreements with other universities. I'll just name a couple, Nipissing, and maybe I shouldn't say it, but Laurentian. Right now, Laurentian's going through some trouble, but the commerce, the business program is still running at Laurentian. So that articulation agreement is still valid as of this date. If you want to move to any other university or college, it's a matter of keeping all of your course outlines, providing a transcript to that college or university, and then they can go through it and determine whether transfer credits are attainable. We also have a couple of articulation agreements around the world. So we have one with Griffith University in Australia and Moosonee University in Maine. So you're not limited to just Northern and Timmins or Kirkland Lake or Haileybury, for instance.
Thank you, Rose. Who doesn't want to study in Australia?
Well, aside from the snakes and spiders, yeah, I probably would.
I would still go regardless. I'm willing to take that 16-hour plus 24-hour flight if I have to. So we're going to move on to Vola. Please correct me if I'm pronouncing your name right. Please tell me. Vola. Yes. Okay. So we're going to move on to her. Explain to me what pathway options are available within the law clerk program.
Well, the biggest one for us is that when you complete your the law clerk program, the 2-year diploma from us, from Northern, and you attain a B+ average, we have an articulation agreement, just like business, with various universities to give you credit for an undergrad. But the most the one that we really are pushing is that UOIT, under Legal Studies Advanced Entry, where they accept your law clerk diploma, and again B+ over, and you can use it towards their 4-year BA undergrad legal studies, and so you can get your undergrad and then apply for law school. As at the open house, I had mentioned that we've had not quite a few, but at least 10 students have taken that route, and some of them did go to Australia to the law school, and one of them actually in Britain. So there's open pathways, and I like what Tracy said, you do not waste. Education is not wasted.
Hope, before you go any further, I have 2 questions. Yeah, I would like to take care of those. I think both of them are for you, Bula. And the first question is from Zachariah. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, but the question is, although we are in lockdown and the classes is online, will we manage to get our law firms and legal offices as a way of experiencing what our jobs would look like?
Great question. And when we do our placement studies, and with myself, when I take a look and I show you what the law clerks job descriptions are, we actually go into Indeed and Job Hunt, and there you will see that there are opportunities for virtual placements. So virtual placements, you can work from home using Zoom, and I'm really pleasantly surprised at how many law firms are actually asking for placement students, and if they cannot travel, especially in the hotspot areas, that they can do it from home. So, and also legal offices are essential services, and so they are open, and they're not open to the public, but they are open, and people have to go in by appointment. So yes, we do have a number of students who are actually at a legal office doing their placement. I hope that answers your question, Zach.
Yes.
He's our sugar maple guy, that he's going to get us some sugar maple. or maple syrup, sugar maple.
And the other question is from Ricky, and I think that's for you too, Bula. And it says, with lockdown, will exams for law clerk be online? Question mark.
Ricky, we have no invigilated exams. Everything is of their final assignments, final group work, final, and if there is something, they're all online. There is no invigilation, so not to worry. The whole program is geared for online learning.
Exactly. It's all online learnings. But before we go any further, Hope, I would like to ask Kylie, Ricky, Sarah, and Zachariah, where you guys from? Let us know where you are, how the weather is, because it rained all day today here. I'm not happy about it. I had a bank appointment, and then I had to go outside for changing the tires in the college vehicle. Out there, it's getting colder. I was wet all day. I had to change my shirt twice. So let me know how it's over there. Timmins, yes, Ricky, you know it, right? So I had to go all the way from college till Call Tires by Walmart. And then I had to wait there. I'm from Missy. The weather started out cold and damp in the morning, but now it's sunny and warm. I'm from Kirkland Lake, going to office admin. So you have a student coming up, and it was raining on and off today, but not a lot. Yeah. We're waiting for you, Sarah. Let us know how's it going on over there. So it's raining pretty much all over. It's raining.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I just want to say that you didn't actually have to change the tires, at least.
No, you did?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we actually had someone come to our house to change tires. I actually, if I can interject, I noticed that there is someone, Kylie, I guess, who wants to go into office administration. And if I can just follow the thread that Zvula already started in terms of placement, because our office admin general and office admin executive students also have placements. And we've also found in business that some of our business partners are looking at virtual placements as well. So it is happening. I think that people are adapting to what's going on in the world, and allowing some of our students to do their placements that way. So it is quite exciting. So if you do plan on coming in for office admin or office admin executive, there are placements in both of those programs, and we are looking at expanding or doing something of the sort for all of our business programs as well. There was a time where there was only placement in our third year, but we mostly have just 2-year programs now. So we are looking at that for the future.
Okay, I'm gonna try. Zachariah, right? Yes. And thank you. And in Orangeville, it started raining and now it's sunny. Over here, it's not sunny. But thank you for letting us know where you're from. Hope, take over. I'm gonna shut up now. Not interrupt the show anymore.
It is fine, Sumit. This morning it was sunny. I'm an early riser, so it was beautiful. And then now it's raining. I can't complain because I'm not a big fan of the hot weather sometimes. But anyways, we're gonna shift gears and we're gonna turn it to Jamie. So the question is, how do you try to make your program exciting and engaging? Highlight some fun points, what you do in your class or your program.
Sure. So Rose started to talk about that and talked about some of the placement options that we have and some just real life experience that we have for our students. So the office administration programs, some of our business partners are looking for possibly business partnerships as well in the future. One of the things that has really been a benefit to the current situation in the last year, there's not only cons with the pandemic, but there's a lot of pros that we can take out of this situation as well. And if you look at the news, a lot of things that have been happening in the news lately, we've incorporated into our classes. So most recently, what comes to mind in the Suez Canal, there was that big ship that blocked the supply chain, right? When we think about the vaccines that have been coming to Canada, and issues with the supply of the vaccines and when are they going to arrive and that type of thing. Our supply chain management professor has incorporated a lot of those real life topics into her classroom. So we all try to do that. I taught economics last semester and we talked about the effect on the economy with the pandemic and whatnot. When we're teaching our math classes or our accounting classes, we're talking about things that students can relate to, whether it's a cell phone bill or the rent that you pay and how you account for that from an accounting perspective. We try to make things engaging and interactive. One of the things that is a benefit to coming to Northern College is that our class sizes are relatively small. So we really get to know our students. We don't only know their names, but we know their interests. We know where they're from. We know where they work. We know what they like to do in their spare time. So that allows us to incorporate some of those interests into our teaching, but it also creates a really safe learning environment. So some students that might be a little bit hesitant and a little bit self-conscious, maybe to put their hand up and ask a question, if they feel safe and part of a team, and they know that they're going to be supported by not only me, the instructor, but also their classmates sitting around them, they're not scared to ask a question. They don't feel silly. They have a question, so they ask. And as a class, we solve it together. So it creates an environment where there's a lot of really rich dialogue. There's a lot of conversation and discussions that are learned. And that allows the students not only to learn the material, but to understand it and then to be able to apply it in real life situations, whether it's at their full-time job that they get when they graduate or when they're in their placement. But it allows them the opportunity to really, really understand that information and then retain that information and recall it when they need to use it as well. A couple other things that we like to do or that we've done in the past in our programs, in our department, I should say, is last year, Tracy started our tax clinic. So it was an opportunity for some of our students and our faculty to get involved and be part of our tax clinic. Unfortunately got shut down towards the end of it because of the pandemic, but it was very, very successful. And as soon as we're allowed to operate it safely again, hopefully next year, we're going to try to do that again. So that's another opportunity to get our students involved and to use the skills and knowledge that they've gained in our program. Another opportunity for the students is the Enactus Club. So our marketing department primarily heads this up. Raj Mohanty is the lead faculty. And so if you're not familiar with Enactus, it's recognized and supported globally. And it's a platform where students, they present a socially responsible idea for their community to help their community. And so it's mentored by a local faculty member, and then their idea is presented to the college. Now this can go to a regional level, a provincial level, and even a national level. I believe it was last year or the year before, we had a team go to the national level in British Columbia and present their idea. So again, it's just another way to kind of bring the learning to a different level and get the students more excited about their learning and passionate about it, and to be able to apply those skills in a lot of different areas.
Thank you, Jamie. So Vula, did you want to add on about how do you try to make your program exciting and engaging? And along with, what are the job opportunities available after graduation?
Okay, well, very similar to what the business is doing, except of course we don't have some of their the programs or the things that they've been doing, like tax clinics. We don't do tax clinics, but we do use current legal software, and we use current legal software that most law firms have and use, and we create documents that you would need, for example, to get a divorce, a separation agreement, do a real estate deal, do corporate minutes, to various different things that you would need. That so you have hands-on. We have licenses to almost all of the current legal software, and we have case studies. We use case studies so that you go through something that you would do a case file in a law firm as well. A lot of our cases come right from CanLII, from the legal source. So we will have a student look up a case and then, create documents that support that case. So those are some of the things that make sure that it's real life applications from what they are learning. Now, the other question that you've asked is, what are some of the jobs that follow through? And this was people think that if you're a law clerk, you only can go into a law office, but a legal environment, I keep calling it. So not necessarily work for a lawyer, but there's a lot of lawyers that are hiring. At their college fair yesterday, there was a law firm that's saying, we're hiring. I'm getting job postings constantly. So yes, in the law firms there are positions, and if you do really well, they you get a job, usually from the placement. If you do a placement in a law office, about 75% of our students end up getting offered a job there. So that's a really good way. But I say that government services, Service Canada, Service Ontario, family child care services. There's industry that have legal departments, banks, insurance companies, courthouses. There are myriad of opportunities for students that have legal, education and knowledge for them to be promoted and to get into great jobs in all areas that have to deal with in the legal field.
Thank you, Vula. It definitely brings back memories when I used to work with Child Family Services, the endless amount of affidavits and reports and so forth. Brings back many memories.
I forgot MP and MPP offices, constituency offices, like they're always helping people out. And I know I had a couple of our students that they came on, and the MPs and MPPs were, would say, hey, can you teach them that, in that area of law? So we not only offer the diploma, we also do sort of a la carte courses. So if an employer wants their employee to be specific to learn about corporate law, well, they will pay for them to take our corporate law course.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So since we were talking about job opportunities, Tracy, did you want to add on in regards to the business portion? I just wanted to backtrack.
Great. No, thank you for the question, Hope. And like Vula said, the really great thing about Northern College is when our employers do approach us and say, hey, I've noticed that your students maybe don't have, quite this skill. We are really happy to hone in on that and make sure that we are including that somewhere in our curriculum. So we definitely are in touch with our community employers for sure. Now, I would like to start with office administration, if that's okay. So our office administration, I want you to walk into any business and I promise you there is an office administrator in that office. Any building that you're going into, whether it's for profit or not for profit, whether it's government or or private, you are always going to have an office administrator. To the point where we have so many employers approaching us for these jobs that we don't always have enough applicants. Just last night, I was online looking for an office administration graduate because a local mine is looking for an administrative assistant. So our office administration students are definitely in high demand. We have amazing professors in our office administration program. So we definitely create and produce absolutely amazing graduates from our office administration program, everywhere from, as I said, the school board and so on. So then we have our business, and because we offer so many different programs, again, we are all over the place. I've been teaching for Northern for about 20 years. And in that time, I have watched many graduates, whether they started at entry-level positions or I have some graduates who are hairdressers or they work and they opened their own hair salon, and now they are able to, do their own books. So no matter what industry you go into, you will see that not only is there an office administrator there, but there's also business management background and so on. So the neat thing about business is you really can go to any industry and there will be a need for your specific skills. Just to name a few, I pulled up a little bit of what we have. So service, some of our local employers are Service Master, Domtar, Kia, Daily Press, Timmins Police Service. I have a number of students who have graduated who are, working with the police, right for the, the city of Timmins, Canadian Mental Health Association, MNP, which is our local accounting tax company. They often take our graduates. Extrata, all of the banks. Everywhere I go, I see some of our graduates. So with it being such a small community, a lot of our graduates decide to stay in Timmins because they have had all these opportunities. And we've managed to create such a network that they know they can contact me and say, hey, Trace, I'm looking for a job. And sure enough, or hey, Rose or Jamie or whomever, we're looking for a job. Is anything coming up? And the employers feel the same. They can call or email us and say, hey, we are looking for this type of, graduate. Who do you have in mind? So we can send these applicants out. I have one former student who has created, it's called Ivy International, and it's based out of Toronto. And what he does, him and his company, they have created an opportunity for international potential students to come to Canada and create their life. So he's actually a Northern College graduate trying to get other international opportunities available. We have another student we have many other students, but one specifically who has invented equipment, so safety equipment. He visited in Indonesia to get his manufacturing company started, and he also is doing very, very well. So honestly, the sky's the limit. And I'm very passionate, as you can see, about how many job opportunities there are out there. And I make no mistake, upon successful completion of our programs, you will have so many new opportunities for you.
Before you go any further, Hope, I'm going to hijack again because I was getting bored. No, I'm kidding. But I have a question. So Tracy, while you were talking, Kylie from Kirkland Lake is asking that what would online look like? Is it like Zoom sessions, or how it's going? So while you're talking about it, if you can, or any of you can join in and talk a little bit more because Jamie talked about it, how you make it interesting with all the scenarios. Even Vula has all those other things going into, but it's how the setting look like. Is it on Zoom? Is it on Blackboard and stuff like that? If you can elaborate that a little bit, that would be perfect. Thank you.
That's a great question, actually. So many of us use different platforms. So this is Zoom, and I know there are some teachers who have taught through Zoom, so you may have that. We also have what's called Blackboard Collaborate, and we have Adobe Connect, which is through Contact North. Many of us in the business department have now transitioned to the Blackboard Collaborate. So for example, I would be your math teacher probably for the first year, myself or Jamie. And I actually have the ability, just like I would on a Blackboard, to be able to show you step by step all of the mathematical steps that you would have to take to solve, say, for example, an equation. You would have that, we have that ability now. So even though, yes, we're not in the same room as you, there are so many perks of us being able to teach this way and with these different platforms. We can still interact with everybody. If you choose not to put your camera on, you don't need to, at least for my classes. You can participate. You can be writing on the whiteboard. We used to call it a Blackboard. Now we just call it a whiteboard, just like I can. So we do have a lot of opportunities with the different platforms. And one of the greatest aspects of using this platform for school is that all of our classes are recorded, which means that if you didn't understand a concept, you can go back and watch that recording. When we're live in the class, you don't always have that opportunity. So you do have the option of going back in. We also have the option, and I'm sure that the other professors do this as well. I will go and say, for example, you know what, they weren't quite sure how to, I don't know, format their calculator. I'm going to do a little video and attach that onto our Blackboard platform and be able to do that as well. So I'm hoping that I've answered your question. Does anyone have anything else to add?
I think Rosemary has something to add. Let's do it.
Hi, thank you. Great job, Tracy, and wonderful question, guys. You're going to hear two terms often when you talk about online. You're going to hear synchronous and asynchronous, and a lot of people don't always understand what that means. So the format that we have is, at this point, we're doing mostly synchronous, which means we have a timetabled class. So you can join at 10:30 every Tuesday for your accounting or math class. And you can join the class live. So you can participate, ask questions, get live answers. That class is recorded. Asynchronous means that it's a recorded class that you go back and listen to on your own. There isn't a timetabled class for it. So you're going to hear those two terms used often in post-secondary and probably now in elementary and high school as well. But that's kind of what the format we're looking at. At this point, we look mostly at synchronous. We're trying to make it as close to a face-to-face style as we can. So they're timetabled classes. You join at 10:30 every Tuesday and Thursday for your class. And then if you, like Tracy was saying, if you didn't understand a concept, you can go back and listen to the recordings. So they're recorded as well. So it's kind of the best we can do at this point in terms of reaching out to you on a live basis. And hopefully hopefully we call this a hybrid. We can go online and face-to-face in the fall and have the best of both worlds. Yes, fingers
Yes.
crossed for sure, Sumit.
Yes, go ahead, Jamie. I think Jamie also has something to add. Let's do it.
Sure, just to add on that question to what my colleagues were saying about, what does it look like when you come to an online class? So there's always a chat box on the side where students can either, if they want to virtually raise their hand, just like Rose and I did, and your instructor calls on you, you can activate your microphone, or you could type your question or your comment into the chat box. There's also an ability to poll the class if you ask a question, and for the instructor to kind of get a sense as to how the class is comprehending the content being shared. You can share your screen and show a video to the class. So it's very, very similar to how it would be in person, except we're virtual. We've got more than our 6 feet distance, and everything's virtual.
That's true. And it's not like Northern College's first rodeo either. Yes, Vula, we'll give you the chance to.
Just to
For
pick
sure.
up from what Rosemary said about the synchronous versus asynchronous. Now, synchronous is when we're teaching just like this in Zoom. You're scheduled, you're here, and it's recorded, and you can listen to it. Now, the asynchronous part, and most of us are doing this, but we use our learning management system, our Blackboard that our college uses, and on there we have announcements. For our course, and I'm sure business is the same way. We have the course outline, the course content, materials, things that you can do assignments on them, forums. You look up your grades. You can even email other students with that. So the asynchronous part of it that's the part of it that you can actually, come and watch and listen to the playback of lecture and interact with us in that way through chat and polls and everything. But the asynchronous part of it is like, okay, I haven't made it to class. I don't know. Like I'm just going to quickly see what's there. So there's my lesson on this particular topic. Well, there's the PowerPoints that are there. Like I add my PowerPoints, I use any videos, I put anything else. I have all my notes on there so students can actually take a look at that. So that's the asynchronous part of it. So, and I don't know if time permits later on, we can do a share. We can show maybe a Blackboard course, and one of you can show maybe a class what it looks like, just so people get it. But if you go onto our Northern College website and go into distance learning, and the business programs are all listed, including the law clerk, there's a little tour of what the class actually looks like. There's a guided tour.
That's true.
Thank you.
And as I was about to tell that this is not something that Northern College has started because of COVID. We had this way before. We had mastered this years ago. I remember there were students way before COVID. They were an online student of maybe Vula's law clerk program or maybe business accounting, and they will come into the original graduation and they knew each other even though they were online. So this is not something that we're doing new because the world needs it. We have already mastered it years ago. So when you get into that system, we are actually getting you into a system which is already predefined, made it amazing already before anything else. So that is something that is also one of the most positive points of being at Northern College and being into that positivity, and also plus small colleges, personal attention, all still applies. Hope. I will try not to take it again, but if the question comes in, I will.
I'm glad you brought that up as well, Sumit. We always tell our students near the beginning of a semester that your peer group are so important, especially in any educational environment, but at post-secondary, your peers are a valuable tool for helping you understand sometimes as well. So we always encourage our distance as well as our local students to converse with each other, to ask each other questions, etc. And you're right, many of them decide to come to the graduation here in Timmins, even though they may be at other campuses or somewhere else in Ontario, just because they want to meet these people that they've been talking to all year. It's a wonderful experience. And it's always heartwarming to us to know that some of these distance students want to come to our graduation as well.
Thank you, Rose. Now, since I still got you here, let me know what materials are required and the costs associated in regards of the business programs.
Sure, thank you for that question. We get that question asked a lot from new students as well. I guess it would depend. The cost depends on whether you're a domestic student or international student. As we know, our international students do pay quite a bit more. Each course, each program, in terms of course materials, it's dependent upon what the instructor requires for the resources. Typically, you must buy the textbook, and especially now we're encouraging, or it's mandatory to have the online resources as well. So that's something that has been mandatory, and we've always said it's required anyway, even if we're face to face and not doing a lot of online stuff. But the business program is a bring your own device program, so everyone is expected to have their own laptops that are functioning, and then they have the ability to complete as many assessments or tests online as they can if the requirement is there. It is highly discouraged that people share laptops, because what happens if you both have a test at the same time, right? So it is a bring your own device program. In addition, there are things specific to each instructor that they may require. One of the things that is required is a financial calculator, and either Tracy or Jamie will let the students know at the beginning of the semester exactly which one that they want the students to have. And I think Jamie's showing you the one right now. Yeah. So Jamie's our Vanna White, for those of you who recognize that reference. But yeah, so in terms of tuition, the tuitions are all posted on our website. So if you're looking at a specific program, you can go and look and see what the tuition is for this current year. I'm not sure if the future year, if 2021, 2022 is posted yet, but it will be at some point.
Awesome, thank you. Sorry, I just had to take a little breather. So Vula, did you want to add anything on to the question about what materials are required and the costs associated?
Similarly to the business program and all the programs, there are textbooks that are required for each of the courses. There's also the bring your own device, and we highly encourage a PC as opposed to a Mac, or if you have a Mac, you should have a Windows, because some of the legal software will not work on the iOS. So that's very, very important. I can't stress it enough, because then you get students trying to get there. I can't get it. I don't have it. And what am I going to do? I'm going to get a PC. I got to borrow a PC. So please, somehow borrow your mother's PC, but make sure it's updated. And of course, the updated Word or Microsoft Office suite is available to all students for free if you're a student. So those are definitely musts. And again, the tuition is posted on our website, and I think it looks like it was $3,500 for the for ours anyway, because ours is standard at 2-year. I could see business has so many different programs and different years. Our 2-year diploma is it's around the $3,500 mark, and then that includes all of the legal software licensing in that. So that's just so you're aware. You don't have to pay anything extra for the legal software licensing. That's in it.
Thank you for that. So I see that Tracy has her hand up, so take it away.
Thank you so much, Hope. Just to speak again to what we were saying about bringing your own device and making sure that you have your own laptop, I'd just like to share an example of what has happened. And I've just been notified of this today, that we have a student who has unfortunately tested for COVID, and she's fine, but her spouse who lives with her has tested positive. They now have to isolate away from each other based on this situation, and they only have one laptop between the two of them. So now there's really a huge issue of how do we decide who gets the laptop, because it can no longer be shared. It's a pretty extreme example, I understand, but these are the times that we're dealing with right now. So I would really, really encourage you just to make sure, and I just wanted to really reiterate the importance of having your own textbooks, your own login sites, your own financial calculator as well. I love that, Jamie. And definitely 100% your own device so that you can do and successfully complete all of your homework.
Yeah, before you go any further, I'm going to hijack one more time because I'm here. I'm
Okay.
excited.
We're
But that's okay.
friends.
So this is for Kylie. We don't need any specific brand or anything else because it's a business program. If it would be an IT program, we would have told you this is exactly what we want. But if you go to any of the programs in the program tabs, you go to the website, you say, let's say business general program, you click on it and there will be BOYD already there. You click on it and you'll be able to see exactly what they need for their laptop, which is like the basic one. So in your case, I am thinking, Kylie, you want an Apple MacBook and you're thinking about having a MacBook. So that is allowed. I mean, if you want to have a MacBook, that's fine. And if you want to have Windows, it has to be Windows 10 with, I think 4 gigabytes or, there are the specifications, 4 gigabyte of RAM, 256 of hard drive and stuff like that. Jamie has her hand up, so I'm gonna let her speak and I'll mute myself. Thank you.
So once you register for a course, you'll have access to that course on Blackboard, even before the classes start. So on that Blackboard page for your course, it'll specifically tell you what is required in terms of the textbook, any equipment or anything like that. And typically the instructor, what I do in my very first class is I go through that document and I say, this is the textbook that you need. This is what it looks like. This is the title, the author, the ISBN number. This is the calculator that you need. And the instructor typically goes over exactly what you need in that first class. Like I said, prior to that, once you're enrolled in that class, usually the week before the class starts, you have access to that information. So you'll know exactly what the instructor is asking you in terms of textbook, equipment, or any type of resource that is required.
Thank you, Jamie, for that. Sumit, don't apologize. We're friends. You're my support system whenever we do navigating Northern session. And Kara too, just in case, because she might be watching.
Thank you, girl.
So this is the most commonly asked question while I have Jamie here. I know we've been speaking about this throughout the session, but just in case people that are not listening, or I don't know, but anyways, the question is, how has COVID-19 affected the business program?
Well, to quote Sumit, it's not our first rodeo, right? So Tracy shared that she's been teaching at the college for around 20 years. I've been teaching for 3 years. And since my very first day at Northern, I've always taught online. Whether it's been a hybrid class, meaning I've had some students in front of me face-to-face and a portion online, or it might have been strictly an online class. We've always taught online. So we have the skills, we know how to do it. I have colleagues that I can ask questions to get support and ideas from. So it's very familiar to us. This is what we do, and we're good at it. So nothing has really changed. It's been more of an adjustment for some of the students who have not been online, but because we have all the experience, it's been an easier transition for them because we know how to lead them and how to guide them and know where students have struggled and kind of ease that transition for them.
Thank you. Vula, did you want to add anything on, or do you feel like you covered everything in regards of the law?
Just one thing, Hope, for us, the only thing that affected our program, again, as we said, we've been doing this online, so nothing as far as teaching, it was just the placement. And some of the students who could not, or especially in the crunch time that, they're graduating and they need this placement and they can't get there because there's not that many virtual placements out there. I've created what's called an alternative placement manual where I've got files. Students have to work on a variety of files, 10 different files that they submit, and that becomes part of their portfolio. So it's, again, education is not wasted. So it forms their portfolio. They take it, when they go for their job application, and they use it. So that sort of made us a little bit more aware of the problems, because I don't have many northern students. Well, I do have some northern students, but most of our students are from central and southern Ontario. And so with COVID and the restrictions that for travel for there, that has become really, really handy. And I've had students that, with children at home, some with special needs children, or some with just, cannot get to a placement. This has really worked well. So that has been the one major thing that we had to change or to adapt because of COVID.
Thank you, Vula. So I see that Rose has her hand up, so I'm going to give you the mic.
Thank you, Hope. Just to follow what Vula said, we actually did have a few students who were some of our, there's kind of a few trickle students still that were in third year that had to do lengthy placements, 15-week placements, who ended up having their placements affected because of COVID. So we had to kind of think outside the box a little bit. And what we did, and what I think a few other colleges in Ontario had to do, is we purchased a simulation program. And the simulation program is what the students did. And these were predominantly human resource, business admin human resource students who only had a couple courses to complete and still had to complete their placement from prior years. So what they had to do is they actually had to create the HR department, the human resource department for a business, hire people, train them, do performance evaluations on them, maybe fire some or lay some off, et cetera, et cetera. Like it was a very large simulation that would mimic a placement. Of course, as you said, there's only so many virtual placements right now because not a lot of businesses would have jumped on board with that right away. But they did have some people that we had to think about some alternative for them, and we did. So it does work out, and we try our best to give you the best possible experience you can get to prepare you for that work world.
Thank you, Rose. So there is always a way at Northern College. So I am going to reach out to Sumit. Actually, no, sorry. Are there any questions from the attendees in regards of what was mentioned, both from our business and office administration programs and our law clerk?
No, I think we answered all the questions, but I'm going to shout out one more time to everybody. If you have any questions, this is the last minute. If you want, we can answer them. Type in real fast. We have maybe last 10 minutes and we can do it really fast. So Kylie, Ricky, Sarah, Zachariah, if you have any questions, we're here. We'll wait for a minute or so.
This is a practice test. You have to type quick.
But that's the thing. I mean, the other thing while you guys are typing, that's the key thing at Northern College too. It's the passion. Like you literally see Tracy, Rose, Vula, Jamie, when they talk about it, that's the passion that kicks in. And I think that's the best thing that we have at Northern College with the faculties. They're so passionate about the program. It's not something where they're doing it because they have to do it and it's a source of livelihood. It's passion. And it takes over, and you see that quality right away. I remember as a recruiter when I was new, I was not able to, because we are good at some of the things, we are not good at everything, right? So we only have certain things about every program. And when I started getting program coordinators and people talking to the students directly, and you see the passion, I think that's where I learned so much about it too. And I also kind of started incorporating that in my job, where I give my best to get the best information. We have no more questions. Thank you for the time. No more questions, no more questions. All righty. Okay, so we have no questions. I think, Hope, take away.
Questions. I see that Ricky is very excited to start. I'm assuming everyone else is. I'm excited to go into my massage chair, not bragging. So that is the end of our webinar. I just want to give a big thank you to our attendees, along with our panelists, that you've taken the time to come to our webinar. It's been a great time, a lot of important questions and information given today. So yeah,
Before you go, Yes, I was about to say you were missing something.
I am having a moment right now. My mind.
Just wanted to let you know we have Proud to be Northern Bursary. If you enter into a 2-year program, a 3-year program, or a university pathway program, you'll be eligible for $1,000 off towards your first year tuition fee. It will apply to your second semester. You have to pay your deposit, and the deadline for deposit is 15th of April. So we still have a little bit of time if you want to go with it. Again, if you are also doing the welder fitter program, the 1-year program, or if you're also doing PSW program, you're able to get $500 off towards your first year tuition fee. And last but not least, PSW, the government free funded program that is starting in May. We still have some seats, so apply, go on OSAP, apply for it. And we are waitlisted currently, but we are assigning seats. So you still have a chance. Don't be late, take your time and get in there. And that's all I think you were missing on, I hope.
This is why we have Sumit here today. So as I always like to say, test negative, but stay positive. So that is the end of our webinar. Hey, I figured that out.
Whoa. Oh my God, that was, whoa. You can't end like this. I mean, wow.
Love that saying. You can take that saying and share it with your friends, your family.
That was very profound. Thank you, Hope.
So everyone have a great evening, and don't forget to reach out to our program coordinators if you have any questions in regards of the business programs and office administration, and along with our law clerk program. So other than that, have a great day. Have a great evening, actually. Proud to be North and proud to be Northern. Bye, guys.